Most will not survive. The question is, will you? We're getting ready to talk about that next here on Prepper Nation. Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Thank you very much for watching and listening, for hitting the like button, and for subscribing to the channel. Number one, this helps you find the channel the next time you're looking for it. Number two, it helps the person behind you that is out there searching for old Prepper Nation. It happens. So again, it is truly appreciated. It is Monday. So a little bit of housekeeping, and then we'll get into the topic this morning. Special thank you to Adam. Beaverain, brother, I appreciate that very much. The package has arrived. It just took me a while to get to the P.O. box. Thank you to the folks. We had a recent meetup of Beaverains in Georgia, and I was not expecting this, but I got this, and they all, I don't know if y'all can see that. They all signed it. I'm going to tell you who signed it here in a second, but thank y'all very much. I was not expecting it, kind of blindsided by it. And again, the fact that it says, "Let's go poopy pants, Brandon." So I think Robin was the ringleader behind this shirt idea. Thank you. Slee Stack, it's looking like you're on here. Um, Paradise Acres. Man, y'all got some fancy handwriting. Let me just say. Joyce, aka VR Lap Girl. And it's looking like Bama Jen. Ginger, I can't believe you didn't throw any Alabama propaganda on there. And finally, if you were in the coffee club, let me tell you briefly, because I just posted a picture over there a little bit ago. I met the most famous celebrity in Mount Airy yesterday. Of course, it's Andy Griffith, but he has since passed on. I finally had the opportunity to meet the llama known as Reepicheep. I realize this sounds crazy. People are like, "What are you talking about, son?" There is a famous llama in our city, and this thing makes appearances here and there. And what is so different about this llama, not only is it dressed up when you meet it, but it does one of three things depending on what it thinks of you and how it takes your personality. If this thing falls in love with you, it will try and give you a kiss on the lips. All right. If it's warming up to you, but not quite there, second base, if you will, this thing will put its cheek up beside your cheek and take a picture with you. And if for whatever reason it doesn't like you, it will bare your teeth. And you better not get around this thing at that point, son. So anyway, I finally met up with old Reepicheep. I rolled the dice yesterday, and that picture is available in the coffee club. Okay, thank you, everybody. Um, most won't survive. That's this morning's topic, folks. And I'm gonna see if I can upset two groups of people this morning. Okay. I'm not doing this to upset these two groups of people, but they're going to be upset. All right. And I just want you to know I'm not doing it out of place of malice. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about since last week, quite frankly. So I'm going to talk about the first group. The first group, it's going to make a lot more sense. The second group is probably going to anger some preppers in this chat. So stick around for that. And please don't throw punches until I explain why. Okay. So I'm talking about Mad Max, of course, a total collapse scenario where our world looks wildly different. Maybe we still have a government, maybe we don't, but the government, at that point is not exactly functioning, its own life support. Maybe we're talking about martial law. It can be many different things. Maybe we're talking about economic collapse. Maybe we're just talking about a zombie apocalypse, aliens, whatever the case may be. Again, most won't survive it. Most are not going to survive a significant event like that, at least here in the United States. So again, I'm gonna pick on 2 groups, and I'm gonna explain why. The first group, we all know somebody that has said one of the following or something very similar. "I couldn't live without my phone. I need my phone to function, my everyday function. Day to day, I just need my phone to do this." And one that I hear quite a bit, "My phone is my life." And I legitimately, while I understand where these people are coming from, maybe their work is tied into their phone, all of their friendships are tied into their phone, photos and things. On the other hand, I legitimately feel sorry for these people because you're living a lie. I don't even have my phone out here with me right now, as a matter of fact. So, Dynamite, you can't ring it. But the thing is, um, it's you can forge friendships and relationships and things online, sure. Look at what we do every morning, but at the same time, it can become this black hole. It becomes this hole that just sucks away productivity, I think. Um, Shooting a couple of numbers here at you. The average American, hopefully that didn't count where I was checking from my phone because it's for a video. The average American checks their phone in between 58 and 63 times a day. Why? What is so important? What is so imperative that you need to check your smartphone 63 times a day? Facebook will be there tomorrow. YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever, Instagram, son, it'll be there tomorrow. I guess. Elon Musk may rename it or something, but social media will still be there. I don't understand this 58 to 63 times a day. I've witnessed with my own eyes, right? Like Darth Vader, looking on it with my own eyes, taking the old mask off for a second or whatever they did. People leaving a store, their vehicle will be 20 feet away. And during this 20 feet trek, that you would think without a phone is the trail of tears or something, they have to pull the phone out and they're zombified, is what I'm trying to tell you this morning. We have way too many people in this country that are zombified by way of smartphone. All right. Now, this is, of course, is going to apply to your typical zombies out here more so than the prepping community. But come on now, y'all know there's some people in the prepping community that fall into this category. And again, I ain't picking on you on purpose, but I'm trying to maybe put your attention on it for a few minutes. The average American, now this is adolescent all the way up to adult, okay? Which is scary when you get right down to it. The average American spends 5 to 6 hours of their life every single day, 7 days a week with their phone buried into a with their face buried into a smartphone screen. The average American probably doesn't even get, 6 or 7 hours sleep tops. I cannot imagine spending more time daily on my phone than I did with my head on a pillow, trying to recharge, trying to get ready for the next day. And there's actually a term, I couldn't believe this. It's called nomophobia. N-O-M-N-O M-O phobia. This is a fear of having to live without a working smartphone. I cannot even believe it has its own term here in 2023, but apparently a lot of people suffer from this. There are adverse side effects, okay, especially with the younger people. But again, look, there's some adults out there that deal with the same thing. If they're not able to pull their phone up every 20 seconds, it's like a security thing or social anxiety thing. Every 20 or 30 seconds, they've got to check whatever is being checked. I don't know. I check my phone. Good Lord, not even once an hour usually. And that's usually on Patreon and to approve comments here. What is wrong with people? If y'all don't mind my asking this morning, am I the only one who remembers life before the smartphone? We survived. All of these comments, you know, my phone is my life. What happened? It's only been like 20 years, 25 years maybe, since these things were invented. How did we go from a society of normal people living normal lives, standing around the water cooler, so to speak, talking to one another? How did we go from a society where we're able to sit down face to face and chat when we're on a date with our significant other? When I'm out with my lady, I like to sit across from the table and chat with her. And it's one of my pet peeves. Hey, we're out spending time together, play on the phone later or whatever. I don't get it. But you need to understand this if you're one of those people. If there's a significant event, if there's a major shtf here in the United States of America, one of the very first things that's going to be taken offline is your ability to access the internet. You might as well get used to living without it or streamlining the experience. Unplug, try that. Take your phone, challenge yourself. I did it for almost 10 months. It's been several years back. Granted, it was before the channel blew up, but I said, I'm going to try and take a year off the internet. Straight up. Some of those old videos may be still here on the channel, but I made it about 10 months. But challenge yourself. Do it for 5 days. Take your phone, turn it off, throw it into a kitchen drawer. Can you go 5 days without using a smartphone? Because if we enter Mad Max, you're going to have to do it anyway. But most won't. Most won't take up on the challenge, which is why most of those folks won't survive. Call a spade this morning. Here we go. We're getting ready to anger some of the people in the chat. But again, please allow me the courtesy of explaining my position here. Second crowd is the crowd that says, prep what you eat. That crowd, the prep what you eat crowd. So, by the way, I agree with you. Okay, sort of. And again, I'm going to try and make my position here. So, prepping what you eat is very solid advice. This allows you to kind of absorb your preps into your normal meals. Give you an example here, okay? If your family, if they eat pasta, they eat a lot of pasta and you have a lot of pasta stacked, all right? When it's coming around the time where you're on the fence about it and you're not quite sure if that pasta is going to be good for much longer, you can pull it in, you can make meals with it, you know, Monday through Friday meals or whatever, and you can replace it. So this allows you basically during a time of no major SHTF to just use and replace, okay, because you eat this stuff anyway. So I do understand the logic behind this. All right. Um, I'm not talking about not stacking what you eat because again, that's smart advice. I'm talking about being picky. I'm talking about folks that say that, stack what you eat, but they're shunning a lot of the different foods out there. You know what I mean? That they're only going to eat a certain standard of food and they're not going to drop below that no matter what. Stuff like they're not going to eat spam or treat meat or potted meat or corned beef or Vienna sausage or tuna out of a can. They're just it's beneath them. All right. And you would be surprised, even in the prepping community, how many people are not willing to try that stuff. Um, I'll never eat spam. That's sort of a comment, Have you tried Ready Wise? Let me just say this for a second. Spam is beneath these people. Have you tried some of the Ready Wise meals? Now, some of them are okay, but some of the Ready Wise tastes like it was made in the Easy Bake Oven. Showing my age a little bit, but there used to be a toy called an Easy Bake Oven. It's like toy food. It's just no good. And in comparison, if you're going to give me a little bit of rice out of a Ready Wise bucket, okay, or a can of Spam, a little bit of light bread, some mustard fried up, some mayonnaise fried up, I would much rather eat the Spam. Is it healthy for you? No, it's probably not. It's probably jacked up, loaded with sodium, trash meats, but we got to be realistic about what it's going to look like during a downfall. Um, I've comments here. I've seen them here in the chat. I'm not eating tuna. There's all kinds of bad stuff in tuna. I'm not eating ramen noodles. There's all kinds of bad stuff in the in the MSGs and stuff. These people are leaving these comments while they're eating at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Or Burger King or something. There's something wrong, and there's bad stuff in most of the food that's available on the shelf. And I feel like some of these foods they get a bad rap. No, I'm not eating ramen noodles every single day. It would become bad for you at some point. I'm not eating Spam every single day, but I stack it, and I'm willing to eat it when that time comes because I know Food Line is not going to be open during a collapse. I'm not going to be able to wheel no pink Cadillac in the Food Line and go in with my snobbish self and say I'm only going to. No, man. During a collapse, you're lucky if you have food at all. You don't have the luxury, I think, of being very picky. So if you're going to have to lower your standards during a Mad Max situation, why wouldn't you do it now? Why wouldn't you bring your standards down right now? While there's considerable chaos, but we still have civility, is what I'm trying to say. Why wouldn't you lower your standards right now? You understand? It's crazy to me. I would go ahead and do that so your body can get antiquated. Tuna, for example. Tuna out of a can, when I first got on that wagon, it was horrible. Horrible. And then I added a little mayonnaise and I added a little relish, and it got to the point where it became an acquired taste. Meaning, I actually got to where I was craving the stuff. And I can eat it straight out of a can, a little bit of salt usually, straight out of a pouch now. Um, but I think here in America, we're just pampered. We have a certain standard of living. And number one, Joe Biden is tearing those walls down. You might as well get used to it. We're not going to be pampered for much longer. But as humans, and especially here in the United States, a lot of people have creature comforts and we're afraid of change. You know what I mean? We get into a certain routine. Getting back to the cell phone for a second, okay? Most of this, right? It's just habit. People have formed the habit of every time their mind is not at work for 5 seconds, they've got to occupy it. The short attention span generation, this sort of thing. And it's the same thing with food, I think, and acquired tastes. People don't like change. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm not huge on tomatoes and I'm not huge on beets. Uh, Beets for me is kind of like I don't know, a soggy food stamp carrot. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm like, I'm either going to start eating, that, or I'm gonna start eating tomatoes, whole and stuff like this. And so I had to pick and choose, and I'm going with pickled beets. I do want them to be pickled. They seem to taste a lot better that way, but it is what it is. Change is inevitable. We might not like it. We might not want to be eating Spam and Vienna sausage, in my case, beets, pickled beets, but change is inevitable. During a collapse, we're going to have to eat things and do things that we never thought possible. So why not go ahead and try and adjust to it a little bit? I'm not saying you have to live on Spam 7 days a week, okay? Try it. If you've never tried it, fry it. Cut it thin, fry it. This stuff is like fried bologna, but it's much better, in my opinion. Because folks, we're on the crazy train. When you get right down to it, Joe Biden's America and whoever's America is coming next, we're on the crazy train. There are no brakes on this thing at this point. We're just holding on for dear life, strapping in if we can, closing our eyes, feeding each other spam at this point. I mean, less phone, more spam. I guess that's the message for today. That and llama's rule. Y'all take care and God bless.